top of the world. Quarry down there. Some of you have filmed that. I so often come up here, and I come up here to do shrooms and DMT and what have you, because it's just incredible. You're on top of the world, and on a day like today. So I'm gazing up here, and I don't know how much the sun is glaring, but when I look into the sun and I see those clouds, it just takes me straight back to the feeling of being on DMT. When you take DMT and maybe mushrooms for some people, but DMT is much more of a powerful experience as far as I'm concerned. You take DMT and these clouds, they turn into gods, bat-winged creatures and cherubs and all that sort of thing. And the world goes still. There's an absolute stillness to it. And there is a wonderful, wonderful feeling of everything is for you. It's so nurturing, it's so Gaia. It's so powerful, and you'll never forget it. Such an incredible, life-changing experience. Now, whilst I continue on my foraging, I'm going to be speaking a little bit about listening to people like Alan Watts and Ram Dass, Richard Alpert. Well, there's one video that I've got earmarked, and it's Alan Watts, and he's saying, what's drugs got to do with it, or something, and so I can't wait to listen to that one. But Richard Alpert, I was halfway through one of his videos last night, and he said, look, I don't have any allegiance with any companies, and I don't have any constraints, and I don't have any interest in a moral standpoint on psychedelics and all the rest of it. I'm just saying that psychedelics have been absolutely incredible for me, and you make of it what you will. And so he went on to speak about many of the experiences that he had whilst mainly taking acid and mushrooms. And when we listen to people's experiences, invariably they're very different from our own. And this is the thing with psychedelics, because we've all got an individuated consciousness. And we all see the world in a very different way. I have never heard anybody speaking about God in the clouds, or like Greek gods, or cherubs, and all these different sorts of things. I just haven't heard anybody speaking about that. And my experiences in general, they are very particular to me. And so when people are looking for what they can expect from a entheogen or psychedelic, you're pretty well wasting your time. Just know that it's going to be outlandish if you take enough, and it's going to be some sort of a simile or carbon copy of your deep inner self. It's going to be a reflection of your consciousness, which basically you have no idea what it is, other than the everyday egoic consciousness. But it's going to be a deep and profound experience. And what it's going to show you, you will never forget for the rest of your life. And you will hold these experiences in the highest of regard. And anybody that speaks bollocks about psychedelics, you'll just be able to put them down in an instant. Because anyone that's speaking bollocks about psychedelics haven't tried them. And all this nonsense about they're dangerous and this, that and the other. You know, one guy I was speaking with, and you know, you probably still watch some of my videos to this day, but he was really decrying the psychedelic experience and saying that even he knew somebody that just had one little puff of marijuana and then he ended up in a wheelchair. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Oh yes, I knew the guy and I knew exactly what caused it. I'm like, of course you didn't know exactly what caused it. You may have thought it did. It may be coincidence, or it may be a complete fabrication. You know, some people just fabricate shit. But has anybody ever heard of anything like that? I haven't, and I've never heard of anybody who has, you know, been in a wheelchair, and anybody that's you know, going to throw themselves off a skyscraper. Just nonsense. The only reality remotely you're going to have is if somebody's already thinking about it, and then their mind is persuaded under certain influences of an accentuation of whatever they're feeling, probably abject terror or something like that. But yeah, the entheogenic psychedelic experience is absolutely unique to ourselves, and so, you know, you just do it and you see what happens. And, you know, people, they're always advised to pick their set and setting, because you want to make sure you're in the right frame of mind. You don't want to be really depressed when you do them. Ideally, albeit if you've been depressed for many years, you may consider it's an option to cure yourselves. And, you know, often I've heard that it has been. And I believe Johns Hopkins Hospital are doing tests on curing depression with psilocybin and addictions and all different sorts of things. So there's so much to learn about all this stuff. Now around here, these are oak trees, all oaks, and it's a very special part of this area where I live. And there is much going on. Now there's one fungi apparently which was growing, but unless you are going off the beaten track, you're always going to find this. You're always going to find people, you see it was growing out of there, and so whatever variety of mushroom that was, people just have to break them. I don't know why they just can't look at them, admire them, take photos of them, Google the search, whatever they think. Why do they always have to break them? That's the thing about lower conscious beings. They've got to destroy everything that they don't understand. And doubtless they're assuming that everything is poisonous and deserves to die. Now look at this incredible tree here, with all that beautiful blanket of moss up on most of its limbs. Absolutely wonderful. So as far as fungi goes, finding bits and bobs, but not a great deal, but these regions are very well traversed with dog walkers. And so if there's anything edible, like the shaggy parasols, then they'd be gone. Now, what I did notice in the field where the shaggy parasols usually are, the grass has all grown tall and matted because there's no grazing animals here. Now, lots of animals, they need the grass to be kept down because otherwise it's too tight of a mesh for them to penetrate through, and that just kills any of the fungi. And so that's the case this year. They've took away the grazing beasts. Usually they have these long-horned highland beasts which keep all the surrounding areas down, but they move them around. maybe to give them, you know, time to regrow, and bugs and animal life and all this, and then when it gets a bit much and impenetrable, they'll bring them back again. But yeah, I found only one small parasol, whereas normally there's about 20 around this region, and they get the size of a dinner plate. And as I say, they're a very tasty mushroom, but too tasty, too chewy, and they go too soggy, so I don't have an interest in picking them or eating them anymore. And so, yes, the psychedelic excursions, all absolutely individual. Really, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And so I'm going to continue in little wooded areas like this, looking around for some oddities that all being well I'll find.